What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show with me, Sean Sheehan, here on Sherdog.com. And today I'm back with another edition of the betting show, but there's going to be two betting shows this week because this is about the championship bets. So for the last couple of years, I did my predictions at the start of the year, who the champions would be at the end of the year, and I will do that again this year and review last year's. I know the lads have done something similar already, but they did it from more of a sporting standpoint, I would say, whereas I'm going to look at it from a betting standpoint, as I did last year. Pick my bets. Now, it might not necessarily be always the guy who I fully believe will be. Maybe I'm looking at the prices and saying, this guy is even money to be champion at the start of next year. I think he probably will be, but this guy is plus 700, and I think, maybe that's a better bet. So that's the sort of thing we're going to look at. A little bit of fun, a little bit of possibly making a few quid out of it, and we won't take it too seriously. But at the same time, let's try to make a bit of money. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I had a little bit of a glance at last year's, and I remember thinking to myself, God, I've done pretty well there, but I haven't looked at them now since around Christmas time. So I actually, do you know what? I remember one, but all the rest of them I can't really remember. So let's go back and look at those. So the predictions at this time last year for right now, and let's see which champions I got right. And this will be almost as much news to you as it is to me. So let's do it and let's have a quick look. So we'll go through them division by division, and we'll see if I am right. So women's 115 pounds. Let's start there. I predict the champion right now is Zhang Weili. And last year, my prediction at minus 125 was Zhang Weili. So that's right. I got it right. One good bet in there anyway. And I'll take that. I think Zhang Weili, she didn't, with all the women's divisions, they didn't really, they didn't fight that much. There wasn't a whole lot of action for a bet like that to go wrong in, shall we say. If there was, like, look at, say, an Alex Pereira at light heavyweight, or, I think I actually think there's a few divisions coming up in 2025 where there's going to be more action in them. Last year wasn't really the year for action, so a bet like that last year was a good bet. Now I have a couple of bets like that for this year, but I have a few out there ones as well. So that one hit. That one was good. Women's 125 pounds. The champion right now is Valentina Shevchenko, after she took her belt back from Alexa Grasso. And my prediction at this time last year at plus 300 was Valentina Shevchenko. So I got it right. That's two in a row. Minus 125 first one, plus 300. That, looking back at that now, people are probably thinking, plus 300 for Valentina Shevchenko. I think I'd have to remind myself that this is probably where I should have gone back and watched last year's. But like at that stage, if I might be wrong on this now, but like, she wasn't guaranteed getting the fight. Obviously there was the loss, and then the draw, and then tough happened and all of that. So that's probably not the tough part, but the rest of it is probably part of why she was plus 300 at that stage. But I have another bit of a bet like that for this year, where maybe there's a little bit of legs left in the old dog yet type of thing, and I think that was definitely the case for Valentina Shevchenko. So we're 2 from 2 so far. Women's 135 pounds then. The champion here is Juliana Pena, and I can tell you right here and right now, I did not predict it was Juliana Pena. My prediction was an out there one, plus 750 for Irene Aldana to win, and obviously she didn't become champion. I think my logic at the time was, we're coming towards the end, I suppose, for Nunes. I actually didn't think her last couple of performances, but obviously the one she lost, but I didn't think she was what she was. Kayla Harrison was, not in the UFC at that stage, and I think Irene Aldana had lost but kind of bounced back and looking good, but obviously it hasn't worked out for her, and she hasn't got it. But plus 750 was a bit of a look, I suppose. Right, let's get to the men. The 125-pound champion right now is Alexandre Pantoja. And I predicted it this time last year, plus 400, Amir Albazi. So that didn't happen. Obviously, Albazi had a fight with Brandon Moreno. If he had won that, he probably would have been fighting for the title. And I was kind of thinking, okay, you win that, you get a bit of momentum, you beat a guy who's beating a guy, and then maybe you'll win it. But that fight fell out with an injury. It didn't happen. Did he come back? Did he come back and lose since? I can't remember. Anyway, he's not the champion anyway, and Pantoja still holds the belt. So there you go. Okay, 135 pounds. The champion right now is Marab Dvalishvili, and I predicted it this time last year that the champion would be at plus 250. Marab Dvalishvili, so I got it right. Another one I got right. At plus 250 as well. That's a pretty good price. And this price, where is this? This was in a reputable bookmakers last year as well. No free ads, so it was in one of the bookmakers, and the one for this year is a reputable one as well. So, plus 250. Obviously, Marab went in there against Sean O'Malley, took him out of it. I suppose a lot of talk at the time was Aljo the champ. Was Aljo still? I don't think Aljo was the champion last year, but. Look, Aljo was a champ at one stage, and then was there rematches? Was he ever going to get the shot? Was he going to have to move? So there was a bit of, to and fro on whether he would be the champion, but he is the champion at plus 250. 145, the champion right now. I'm going to go and check, even though I know. Ilia Topuria. And I predicted at this time last year at plus 240, the champion would be Ilia Topuria. Got it right. Another one I got right. This is, honestly, I don't know if anyone done as well as I've done. No, it might come downhill after this. But Ilia Topuria, obviously he was lining up against Volkanovski. It's easy to look back at that and go, Volkanovski was coming off of 2 losses and he lost. But Volkanovski was a favourite going into that, wasn't he? Or close to it anyway. And a lot of people thought he would have win. I know a lot of people thought Topuria was very good, but I don't know that people believe in him maybe as much as I did. Now I've believed in lads who didn't win as well, so I'm not some sort of genius or anything, but I did believe in him, to be fair. I also bet in him at the time to win second round knockout, which turned out to be right as well. So we've made a lot of money from Ilia Topuria. I also had him as one of my bets for the year to beat Volkanovski, if I'm not mistaken. So there isn't as many, I must say, as me, who believed in Ilia Topuria. So patting the back for Shawnee. I can't have bad shoulder. That's actually this one is bad, but anyway. So there you go, Ilia Topuria. Right, the lightweight champion. Who is the lightweight champion right now? Let's have a look. It is Islam Makhachev. And at this time last year, Shawnee Podcast predicted the champion would be a minus 120. You can probably guess it. Islam Makhachev. So again, another one right. Another one correct. That's pretty good. Now, he was the champion this time last year. I have him actually down here, as was Zhang Weili, but the others weren't. So, minus 120 was pretty good. Obviously, Islam went in there and who did he beat this year? Poirier? I don't know who he beat, but honestly, it feels like Makhachev and Topuria are on the verge of something very, very special here. But that's been the case for a few lads over the last few years, and they haven't quite gotten there, like Adesanya and Usman, and even Habib. When he was there or thereabouts, and he obviously retired, and I suppose you could say the same maybe Aspinall. I don't know if he was to beat Jones and go on, but there's it's tough to get to that next level. But anyway, Makhachev is there or thereabouts. Welterweight, the welterweight champion right now is Bilal Muhammad, and my prediction for the welterweight champion was a plus 600 prediction. Was it Bilal Muhammad? It was not. I predicted Islam Makhachev. Because at the time there was talks of Makhachev going up to fight Leon Edwards. I thought he would have, to be honest. I thought he looked at it as a more favourable matchup. I know he's trained with Bilal and things, and maybe that was part of it, that they left kind of that for Bilal. That team is obviously very loyal and they don't like to step on each other's toes. I like part of Habib retiring was probably to let Makhachev through, I would suppose. So that didn't happen, but plus 600... I think that was worth the flyer. If the fight had happened, I think he probably would have won it. So there you go. Middleweight, the champion right now is Dricus du Plessis. And my bet at this time last year is probably the bet this time the year before. It might even be the bet for this time next year. Is Hamzat Chimaev at plus 100. Chimaev was there or thereabouts. He could have gotten a title shot. He probably should get a title shot next. He's still not getting it. talks, you know, the stuff about not fighting in America and all of this, it's holding him back. So that didn't happen. At plus 100, you'd be a little bit disappointed in that one. At light heavyweight, the champion is Alex Pereira right now. And the champion I predicted this time last year, plus 450, is Mohamed Ankalaev, which, again, could have been the year before, could be next year, the same prediction. Plus 450, it didn't happen. I think that's, at plus 450, it's a pretty good price, to be honest, because, like, I think a lot of people out there think Mohamed Ankalaev should have got the last title shot. And if he did, I think a lot of people thought he would have won. So that plus 450 would look a very, very good bet right now, but it didn't happen. You know, what's the thing? Horseshoes and hand grenades, nearly, or you know, what's the Irish version of what we said? Nearly never bulled a cow. There you go. Honestly, I'm not too sure what that means, but anyway, we'll go with that. And in the last one, the heavyweight champion, at plus 450, I'm not sure how this was plus 450, to be honest. I always try to wrap my logic around all of these, but John Jones at plus 450 to be the champion at this stage last year, which, you know, were people thinking he was going to retire? Were people thinking he was going to lose to someone? Honestly, I can't really remember. He did get injured. Maybe people thought he'd get stripped or whatever. But anyway, I am right. John Jones is the champion at plus 450, and he was the champion at this stage last year. So pretty good there. I hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those for minus 120, plus 300, plus 250, plus 240, minus 120, and plus 450. I'll tell you what, if I do that as well next year as I did last year, I'll be pretty happy with that. So we will take that. We will take that. Right, let's get to next year and let's have a look at the predictions for next year. Let's give you some of the prices. I'll give them a shout out. They're up on DraftKings, so shout out DraftKings. They have the price up there. There was another place actually with the price as well, and I panicked because I came on here and they had disappeared. So I was happily enough to find them elsewhere. So let's start off with the 3 women's divisions again, and we'll go from there. So I'll give you the prediction and then we'll look at a few of the prices. So my prediction, first of all, at 115 pounds, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, to be honest. A tough one. But I'm going for Tatiana Suarez. And she is priced at plus 140. Now, part of me here is I'm going to be a bit of a skeptical so-and-so for a minute, right? Part of me here is like, will Tatiana Suarez even get to the fight, right? Then the other part of me was like, if she does get to the fight, will she get injured straight afterwards and definitely be the champion at this stage next year? Like, I think either of those two things are as likely as the other. Now, there was a lot of talk, she pulled out of her last fight injured, but apparently it seems like she didn't. It seems like they just moved her to this fight, so that maybe she is staying more fit. But if she does get there, I think she will win, right? And I'm not 100% certain on that, but I think there's a good chance. I have an awful belief in Tatiana Suarez. And if she fights someone else, I think she'll probably beat them as well. So plus 140 is I'd like a better price, to be honest, but I actually don't think the injury issues are going to stop her from being a reigning champion, if that makes sense, unless she gets injured beforehand, which she very well could. Let's be honest, she very, very well could. So that is a prediction. Some of the other ones which I would have mentioned, actually I need to move this one away. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Zhang Weili minus 150, I think is a pretty good bet. Like, if she beats Tatiana Suarez, I don't think there's anyone else beating her. After that, you know, we have Zhang Jidoba, who kind of got there and didn't take her opportunity, plus 600. An outsider massively, I would go for plus 25,000, Gillian Robertson. I like Gillian Robertson. I think she's improved an awful lot. I think she's a good fighter. I think she's due a step up. If she gets, I know she's fighting someone else, but if she gets a step up, has a fight towards the end of the year, maybe if she wins that step up, she could become the champion. But it's going to be very, very tough for her. And honestly, there really isn't anyone else there that I would look at. I don't see anyone else whose name I would even mention here. And so I won. So we'll move on. Right. The 125-pound champion. I'm going to go for Manon Fiorot at plus 200. Obviously, she's hopefully fighting Valentina Shevchenko next. She is... I think the biggest issue for her is how is sitting on the sidelines going to be, how big of an issue is sitting on the sidelines going to be. Not just with this fight, but with her next fight. How long, there's a tendency, I've been sitting on the sidelines for a while, let's turn it around quick. That doesn't always work out well either. So I'd be kind of thinking like, no, I'm talking myself out of the bet here, right? And plus 200 isn't the best price in the world, but I have another inkling as well. And the reason I've gone for Manon Fiorot is I don't think Shevchenko is at her flying best that she once was. I said it a couple of times now, but I think she'd be better off moving to 135 pounds maybe. Fiorot's only getting better and better. And like that old adage of like, oh, you better get me now, type of thing. I think that might be past the point in terms of Fiorot before she gets too good and Shevchenko before like she gets a bit older. So I like Fiorot. I think she'll win the fight. Can she hold on to the belt? I think she probably can. Some of the other ones there, Shevchenko is minus 125. That's not bad. Can Blanchfield get her way back in there plus 300? See, the problem with Blanchfield is if Fiorot wins, I'd say she's hardly getting that rematch because it was such a kind of a beatdown. Like Alexa Grasso, she was the champion. She defended her belt. Okay, it was a draw and it was a bit of an iffy card, but I think she could get back in pretty quickly if she was to win a fight or two. She's plus 800. That's not bad at all. What if Zhang Weili goes up? She's plus 1,000. That's not bad either. And I think the rest in it's going to be tough. Natalia Silva plus 600. And then after that, you'd be looking for someone to go on a run. Jazz Devicius plus 30,000. Casey O'Neill plus 10,000. I don't think any of them are making it, to be honest. So, yeah. But that's it. Right. Next one. 135-pound champion. I'll be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of the bets here. I wasn't the biggest fan of the prices. So I have gone for a tad bit of an outsider, plus 500. And that is the Lioness Amanda Nunes to come back and reclaim her title. And I have kind of two reasons for that, right? First reason is I think whoever wins the title between Kayla Harrison and Juliana Pena is going to be calling out Amanda Nunes mad because they know that's the big money fight. They know that the UFC will probably do it. They both want it. It makes a whole lot of sense. There's a written, it's written there. And there's no one else. There's no one else really. It's that kind of fight. Those are two reasons, and I have a third, and I'll throw it out there. I don't think they're that good. Like, I actually think Amanda Nunes, and I said this about Shevchenko, I think this twice-handed for Amanda Nunes. I think she looked way past her prime for the last few fights. I think she looked, and I think, and it's an easy thing to say, but Amanda Nunes is the greatest of all time, without a shadow of a doubt. A brilliant fighter, but everyone has had their day. Everyone has their day at some stage. I just think, like, okay, Pena beat her once, and we know what happened, but she came back and Amanda Nunes didn't look great and still beat her. I think she probably beat her again, to be honest. And I don't think Kayla Harrison has... I think she's flattered to deceive, to be honest. And I like Kayla Harrison as like a person. I like the idea of Kayla Harrison. I don't know. I hate saying, oh, she's the next Ronda Rousey, and I feel like the skill set just hasn't gone on. I think she's a bit too stiff, and a great fighter like Amanda Nunes is going to give her trouble. I actually think Pena could give her a bit of trouble. Now, I do think she'll beat Pena, but I think Amanda Nunes, if she has, maybe she had a few injuries, she's rested them up, she's a new lease on life coming back. I think she'll beat down Kayla Harrison. That's the prediction. So, Amanda Nunes plus 500. Right, on to the men's 125. And this, we're going outsider, we're going a bit mad here. This is definitely a mad one. So I am going at men's flyweight for Asu Amalbiev at plus 2500. And again, this is one based a lot around the prices, a lot around maybe they're not being a blowout, and also a lot around this guy kind of being there or thereabouts. Just let me look at the rankings here for a second. He is ranked right now at the moment number 8. You know, if you look around him, Arcegas had a shot at 9, Perez had a shot at 7, Tim Elliott has had a shot. You know, there's plenty of lads around there who have had shots, and one win and he could get a shot. You look at the record, he beat Nicolau at the end of last year. He's on a really good run. You know, he's only lost his game very early in his career back in 2017. He's been a great run since then. He's, you know, submitting a lot of lads. His wrestling is very, very good. At that price, I'll throw it out there because I don't really like the other prices. I had Pantoja written down at plus 100, but I'll be honest with Pantoja. I've gained a lot of respect for him, but I do think he'll be beaten. I do. I think he'll fight 2 or 3 times this year, and I think someone will beat him. The guy I wanted to pick, to be honest, he wasn't in the betting here. And let me just check, actually. There was... I actually, that place that I told you the betting odds disappeared, I did manage to screenshot them. So let me see, did they have the guy I wanted? We'll see, did they have it? I believe they didn't, but I think... And who's the guy I was talking about? Muhammad Makayev, obviously. I just wonder, will they bring him back? I wonder, will he be given an opportunity back in the UFC again? They actually don't have him down as his betting odds either, so I'll stick with Amalbiev. But like some of the other odds, as I said there, Pantoja plus 100. Like Kai France might get an opportunity, but he's plus 400. I don't fancy him. He could, but I don't fancy him. I actually like the price on Moreno plus 500. I think he could get another opportunity. He's the type of guy that could take another opportunity. Rival again. I was so impressed by Rival in his last couple. Like, he looks like a guy to me. Do you know who he reminds me of a little bit? Dustin Poirier. He's just matured a little bit. At plus 600, that's not bad either. I picked Albazi last year. He's plus 3,000. But yeah, no, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go for Asu Amalbiev. Plus 2500. It might be a mad one, but we all need a mad one once upon a time. Right. The next one's pretty self-explanatory. Ilia Topuria minus 175. And I'll do 2 in a row. I'll go Makachev as well at minus 175. Featherweight, lightweight. I just think both of these guys are too good for everyone else, and I don't think they'll move weight classes. Like, there's been a lot of talk about Topuria. I just think it makes no sense for him at the moment. I think we need to get to an era where the best champions fight the best challengers over and over and over again. Let's get back to Anderson Silva. Let's get back to GSP. Let's get back to John Jones. Let's get back to that. Let's do that. Don't mind the double champ stuff. Don't mind the... Come on, right? The two of you win 5 fights in a row and didn't fight each other. That's where you make money. That's where a big fight comes from. So let's do that. And I feel like they are going to do that. I feel like there's enough challengers in both divisions that they can do that. And I also feel like the two of them are so good that they won't get beat. So let's look quickly at featherweight first. Did I just skip Bantamweight? I did skip Bantamweight. We'll get back to Bantamweight in a second. Oh yeah, because there is a bit of a reason I skipped Bantamweight, but we'll get back to that in a second. At featherweight, Ivlaev plus 200, not happening. Lopez at plus 400, not happening. Volkanovski at plus 750. If I had to pick an outsider, it'd probably be him. And other than that, like, I like Sean Woodson at plus 10,000, but he's not getting a title shot this year. Do you know who I really like? John Silva at plus 20,000. He's the type of guy who's mad enough to take one on like a day's notice. I could see that happening. But probably not, you know. And then at lightweight, Makachev obviously gave him minus 175. Tsarukyan is plus 400, you know, which is not a bad price just to win that fight straight up and maybe be the guy after that. Topuria is plus 800. I don't think that fight will happen. I don't think Tsarukyan's beating him. I don't think Oliveira's beating him at plus 600. I don't think Holloway's beating him at plus 1,000. Certainly Moicano's not beating him. Certainly Hooker's not beating him. Fiziev will have to win a couple of fights to get back. Yeah, it's not happening. It's not happening. Let's talk about Bantamweight. There's been a couple of different prices on this guy, so I'm gonna go for it. And actually, can I check before I give you my champion here, right? Before I give you my champion for this time next year, I just want to check the odds on the fight between the champion and the challenger and see what we're working with. So Dashvili is plus 260 and Nurmagomedov is minus 325. Now, the big issue for me when I look at that, the price for the champions for next year is Umar Nurmagomedov at minus 120 and Dashvili at plus 310. Let me just consultate my prices on the other place and let me just see that they agree. See, they had Dashvili at plus 275. Now, which is right and which is wrong? Do you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a price in the middle. And I think that's fair because I have one place at plus 130. I have one place at plus 275. What if I go Dashvili plus 200? Would that be fair? If anyone has any issues with that, right, I'll change it, right? I'll change it. But I think that's fair enough, like. I really do think that's fair enough. I'm going to have a bit of respect for Merab. I picked him out last year. I gave him as one of my guys last year. I think Umar is very good. I could very well pick Umar, right? And I could say maybe they'll do a rematch or something, but I don't know. I feel like we always underestimate Merab. Now, I actually don't think Merab's performance in that last fight was that good, and maybe that's why his price isn't as good here. He's a big underdog. I think he can fight a lot better than he did against Sean O'Malley. I think the Apex fecked up a lot of people. I think there were many excuses for that, and he still won, right? He still won. I think he added a lot in the fights before that. I think he just doesn't have the chain wrestling. He has a bit outside of it as well. He's able to stay safe. Now, I'm going to do a wider breakdown. I was watching a bit of him earlier on, and I want to watch a bit more before I give my final pick. But this is not about that. This is about prices. I don't think there's anyone else that's going to be champion at 135 pounds next year. Like O'Malley, I don't think he's going to get back. I don't think Yan, Figueiredo, Sandhagen, Yadong, Vera, Cejudo, Talbot, not yet. And then after that, you're looking for someone. I just don't think it's happening for any of them apart from the top two. I really don't. So again, this is I'm rolling with it right now, but this is a toss of a coin for me, and I'm going to go with Merab at plus 200. The price that's kind of in between both of them. I'm going to go with that. Right. So quick recap. Suarez plus 140, Fierro plus 200, plus 500 for Nunes, plus 2,500 from Alviev, Merab plus 200, minus 175 for Topuria and Makhachev respectively. Right, let's get a bit wild at welterweight. I'm going to go for my guy Ian Gary. Screw ye all. You can call it Irish bias. I don't care. I got to go for it. And here's my reasoning. Shavkat fights Bilal. Winner that emerges. They'll be looking for a contender. The contender could be... I heard Della Maddalena is fighting Leon Edwards now. Is that happening? I think it might be, right? So maybe it'll be Della Maddalena. Maybe it'll be Edwards if he was to win. There's Usman, Brady, Pratt is on his way, Morales, and a few more. But I think that in between all of that, Ian Gary's going to get a big fight. And I actually think it could be Leon Edwards, whether it's in London or whether it's after London. And I think the winner of Shavkat and Bilal, especially if it's Bilal, might wait on a little bit. And obviously Ramadan is coming up and stuff as well. And it might be, it might be a good bit down the road. Will there be enough time? See, I think the thing is, right, let's say Leon Edwards beats Della Maddalena. Let's say that fight happens. Or whoever he's fighting, Brady, whoever it might happen to be, at London. I think there'll be enough time for him to maybe get another fight. And if there is, that fight is definitely going to be a number one contender fight. And if Ian Gary goes in there with Leon Edwards, I think Ian Gary beats Leon Edwards. And I think, and let's say it's Rahmanov, no disrespect to Bilal, I think he deserves a lot of respect. I think people want to see the Rachmanov rematch. And I think if Ian Gary beats Leon Edwards, he could very well be that next guy. And I think no one would have much of an opportunity and no one would have much of a problem with it. The only issue, I think, is timing. Like, if it doesn't happen at London, obviously, that's going to put a bit of a spanner in the works. But at the same time, look, we're looking for a bit of madness. We're looking for a bit of a flyer. I think Ian Gary's also a guy who could go in on short notice. I think he could be a backup fighter. You know, there's a bit of madness brewing in the... I'll tell you this. Here's a prediction for 2025. A bit of madness. There's going to be a bit more madness in 2025. That's a prediction for there. So, Ian Gary. Some of the other ones, Rachmanov minus 150. That's honestly not a bad price, to be honest. Bilal plus 200. Buckley plus 350. That's not happening. Leon Edwards plus 350. It's possible. It's possible. Makachev plus 500. If he goes up, it's possible as well. Della Maddalena plus 2200. That's a great bet. Because if Della Maddalena beats Leon Edwards, he could very well be fighting for a title next. And, like, he's a very underrated fighter. I think Sean Brady's an underrated fighter as well. Plus 2000. Prates, I think it'd be a little bit early for him, but Morales, if you're looking at an outsider, I like Morales at plus 5,000. I think that might be a good outsider bet. So there you go. Welterweights. Middleweights. I've gone for a bit of an outsider here as well. So I'll talk about the betting first. Chimaev plus 200. Duplessis plus 120. Strickland plus 300. I don't like any of them. I really don't. I don't like any of them. Like, will Chimaev get the fight in 2025 is my biggest thing. If he does, I think he probably will win. Who's going to win between Duplessis and Strickland? Like, doesn't matter. Will they beat Chimaev? Probably not. So, like, that, I don't like any of those prices, right? And I think what we need to do here is go for a bit of a wilder one. Maybe someone wins a couple of fights, gets a title shot towards the end of the year. Maybe someone pops in short notice. Maybe they need to save a title fight, and there's a big name. And that big name for me, Israel Adesanya, plus 1,800. So 18-1 for Israel Adesanya to be the middleweight champion in 2025. I think that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good bet. The Duplessis Strickland fight's happening like next week, isn't it? Or this week. The winner of that, I think, will probably turn around pretty quickly. Adesanya's fighting the week after against Imavov. I think he wins that fight. Imavov's plus 600. I don't really like that. Adesanya could get the next title shot, and you have him here at 18-1 to be the next champion. Like, it could happen. I think we all hope and think it'll be Chimaev, but there's no guarantee. They might need to fill a card. It might be in America. Chimaev might be able to get here. Bob's your uncle. Fanny's your aunt. Israel Adesanya plus 1,800. Anyone else stick out? Bo Nickel, they're not going to rush him, I don't think. Plus 2,000. Whitaker plus 500. Not happening. Abu Magomedov. Shara Bullet plus 7,500. If he beats MVP, they could push him. What about Fluffy? Where's my guy Fluffy? Plus 1,100. That's not big enough for me. Carl Bahalio plus 1,000. Not bad either. Not bad either. I think this is the best one for, like, maybe the outsider bet. So there you go. I've gone for Adesanya. Let me know who you think. Last two. I'm going to go for him again. I went for him last year plus 450. He's only plus 195 at this stage. Ankalaev. There was talks of Pereira going up to heavyweight. They've been poo-pooed by Kevin Iole. He said he's not fighting Ankalaev, but I think you will end up fighting him at some stage. And I think Ankalaev will end up winning. And at plus 195, this is a pretty self-explanatory one. Pereira's plus 120. I think that's probably the worst bet of them all, to be honest. I think Pereira will end up either giving it up or losing it this year. I think Ankalaev will beat him. Maybe Jamal Hill comes along and beats Ankalaev. I can see that happening as well. He's fighting Prochazka soon. He's Jamal Hill plus 600. Prochazka plus 800. The outsider kind of one I like is Ulberg at plus 700. That's not bad. I Ulberg is the guy up and coming. So, yeah, I could see that. Other than that, not too many stand out. Khalil Roundtree had a great performance against Pereira. He's plus 3,000. Definitely a guy you could see there or thereabouts again if he was to win a couple of fights. So, there you go. And then the last one at heavyweight. I'm going for my guy John Jones at plus 110. I think he'll beat Aspinall if they fight. And I think he'll probably not immediately retire if they fight, hold on to it for a while, probably end up only fighting once this year, and maybe give it up towards the start of next year, or maybe have one more fight. Like, I think he'll probably look at that UFC heavyweight division. If a guy was to emerge, let's say, well, just let me look at it here. Let's say, I don't know, Curtis Blades or Almeida or something was to win a couple of fights. I could see John Jones, having another fight there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what John Jones' all this retirement talk is it going to happen. That's the only issue, I think. But I like John Jones at +110. I think he beats Aspinall. Aspinall's a favourite, -130. Almeida +300. Almeida's a pretty tough matchup for Aspinall, to be honest, if that happens. Gan, I think the biggest issue for Gan is he's not going to get the opportunity at +500. Pereira +1,000. Pereira could come up. And also, when I was talking about John Jones as well, the name obviously is Pereira. If he used to beat Aspinall, Pereira comes up, fights Pereira. There you go. So, and I think John Jones wins that as well. So John Jones +110. So those are it. That's that. Let's recap again before I let you go. My champions. 1st of January 2026, Suarez +140, Firo +200, +500 for Nunes, Asuambiev +2500, +200 for Marab, Topuria -175, Makachev -175, Ian Gary +400, +1800 for Adesanya, Ankalaev +195, and John Jones +110. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning into the Sheehan Show. Thank you very much for tuning into Sherdog.com. Leave your predictions in the comment section below, and we'll see who's right at this time next year. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you all next time.